Before you buy more doors in 2026, make sure the doors you have aren't leaking money or problems. Welcome to Be a Better Landlord. My name is Ashley Kehr. You can also find me on the Real Estate Rookie podcast by Bigger Pockets. Today, we're going to be talking about doing your year end audit on your properties. And this is not just a financial audit, but also your maintenance audit on your properties. We are going to start off with your financial audit and some of the steps and things that you should routinely be doing at the end of the year for your properties. Some of these things you should actually be doing every single month. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about is reconciling all of your accounts. So, you need to do this for tax purposes, anyways, for your accountant, but you should be doing it to get an overall financial picture of your properties. So, you're going to look at your bank statements, you're going to look at your credit cards, you're going to look at your loans. So, for example, you want to reconcile your bank statements to make sure that your statements are matching the checks that you have written and the income that you have received from your properties. If you need great accounting software to help with that, you can check out REI Hub. And if you're already using TurboTenant, it is already integrated. Okay, so next is going to be your credit card statements. You want to make sure that you have gone through all of your credit card statements, categorized what is actually an expense of your property. Hopefully, you're not commingling personal and business expenses on the same card, but if you are, they need to be separated. Next are your loans, and your loan payments usually have principal and interest payments. They also could have escrow, where that's your insurance and your property taxes. So you want to be able to write these off because the principal that you're paying on your mortgage is not deductible. Just the interest, just the insurance, and just the property taxes are deductible as an expense. You want to make sure that you are only writing off the expenses that can be expensed for tax purposes and not allocating the principal payments, because principal payments are just you're repaying a loan, so it is not tax deductible. It also shouldn't be showing up on your profit and loss statement. You should see it on your balance sheet where you're seeing the loan balance and the principal being taken down to show that you owe less money than you did the previous year because you've been paying off your loan. You're going to want to go through your financial statements and verify that your rental income is what you did receive and that your expenses are all categorized correctly. We are going to want to go through our financial statements per a property and make sure that our properties are actually performing well. Maybe we even need to consider offloading a property because it is performing low. We could actually take that money, take that capital, and invest it into something else. So we're going to look at the cash flow. What was projected for the year? What was the actual cash flow? What major expenses impacted, the property's performance that maybe going forward that wouldn't happen again? Are there any big expenses or capital improvements coming up that we need to prepare for, save money, maybe boost our reserves a little bit more, or know that going in the future that our performance is going to, be a little bit lower because we'll have these big expenses up? Or maybe you just want to add some improvements to your property and want to make sure that you have money going forward for the next year to be able to make those improvements. Now, besides just the financial picture of the property, we're also going to look at our lease terms and also any contracts we have with vendors. And we're going to go through our leases once a year. I like to send my lease to my attorney and just say, hey, has anything changed? Anything come up with other clients that maybe you suggest should be added into a lease agreement that we haven't thought of before? So just a quick review. I don't even think my attorney charges it for this review. You can also go to TurboTenant and search their lease audit tool. This is amazing. And you can go through, put your lease agreement in there, and it will actually go through and give you recommendations based on your state laws as to what you should or shouldn't have in your lease agreement. I love this tool. Make sure to go and check that out. Then any contracts. Do you need to bid out your contracts for snow plowing, landscaping, anything like that for the coming year to make sure that your contractor is staying competitive? Another thing is also your insurance quotes. When is your insurance up? Making sure that you are also getting new insurance quotes instead of just letting your insurance company continuously increase it every single year. You not shopping around for a better quote. Now, the last piece of this for the financial audit of your properties, the tax benefits that you could be receiving that maybe aren't just dollar amount expenses, the costs you incurred, the expenses you paid, but also other things like your mileage logs going back and forth through the property. This is really important, especially if you are trying to qualify for real estate professional status for taxes so that you're able to write off your rental losses to your W-2 income to kind of offset it there. So if you're trying to do that, you want to, track how many hours that you put into real estate to make sure you're hitting that 750 hours. So tracking your hours, tracking your mileage so you can write off your mileage. Also, we're going to look at depreciation. A lot of times your CPA, your accountant will take care of that for you. But if you need to do any cost segregation studies to be able to increase the amount that is actually written off on your tax return for that year, this is the time to do it before the year is over. It's very important to start your tax planning before the year ends because a lot of times there's a lot of tax benefits or advantages that you have to do before the year ends. So you're not waiting until January, February, March, right before you file your taxes. You need to start thinking about it now before the year ends. Then we're going to also think about if we need to write any 1099s for like contractors that you will do in January when the year is done. You can start gathering the information, making sure that you have their tax ID number, their social security number, that you have their address. And there's a ton of different websites where you can actually fill out the 1099s themselves and have them sent to the contractors, or you can hire a CPA to do this for you too, but also something to think about. And then in January, you're also going to be gathering information from, any 1098s. You may be getting a 1099. So just prepare for those things coming in. I like to keep a spreadsheet of everything that I get for each LLC each year so that I can track and be like, okay, I didn't get the mortgage interest that I paid for this loan on this property yet. Right here, I have it written on my list. I know that I need to get that to my accountant. I need to get my profit and loss statement. I know that I need to get my W-2 over to my accountant. So I have a list of everything for each LLC and me personally, what I need to gather at the end of the year and make sure that I have prepared to give to my accountant. It makes it so much easier every year just looking at the checklist. Anything new comes up, like I purchase property or sell property, I'm adding on that I'm going to be making sure I give them the closing statement for that property too. Okay, so let's move on to your maintenance and operations audit. We did talk a little bit about lease agreements and things like that, and also bidding out to contractors, which could also fall under this category too. But one thing I want you to do is to review each property and make sure that there's not any significant maintenance or improvements. You could have your handyman do this, or you could do this. Maybe it's even just a drive by of the property or checking in with the tenant and say, hey, are there any maintenance requests outstanding? Check in with them because I definitely have been in the situation where I have had tenants not put in the maintenance request and they sit and sit and then they move out and it actually ends up being a bigger problem. Reaching out, being proactive, finding out what needs to be done, maybe even just looking at some kind of grant or some kind of energy efficient benefits that are out there where maybe it is time to replace the windows on the property. They're fine, but maybe you can go ahead and replace them. One little tip too, like if you have a property that's in like a main town and it's like right in the village, I would say, is that a lot of times there will be grants for those, either local grants, state grants, county grants that will come in and they will actually pay a portion of whatever the improvements are just because they want to make their downtown bigger. And when I say downtown, this isn't like downtown of a major city. This could be downtown of a very rural area. There was a town by me that just got like a $10 million grant, and that grant was just to be used for helping the small business owners, property owners to increase the improvements on the exterior of their property. So you should go in and just talk to like your town clerks. They should know of all these grants and different programs available to you for property owners that you can take advantage of. Then we're going to make our CAPEX list. What improvements do we need to do this year? What big improvements do we want to do down the road? These could be things that need to be replaced, or these could be things that you just want to do to improve your property. If you have a short term rental, like this could be a hot tub or a sauna. And then I like to go through and review all of the work orders from the past year. How efficient were we at getting these work orders done? What were the costs of some of these big improvements? So I like to track, an HVAC typically to replace and put a whole new one in is going to cost me about $8,000. that's typical for the properties that I have, for the vendor that I use. Is this changing? Is this still on track? Because I need to know that when I'm purchasing a new property so I can estimate how much the rehab is going to be if it needs to be replaced. So I'm always tracking that, looking at that too. Then just making sure your seasonal maintenance checklist is being completed. We're going to look at, did the gutters get cleaned out? Is that something we need to do in the spring again? What is our maintenance on the sidewalks and the driveways for snow plowing? Like, are we looking at the furnace filters and making sure they're being changed? Or if it's the tenant's responsibility, are we checking in to make sure they're doing it? So, all of these seasonal and preventative maintenance schedules that need to be done routinely every year, I'm making sure going back, do we need to add anything to our list that we wanna do to upkeep our properties or any new contractors or any new things that we need to bid out going forward? Now, we did talk a little bit about insurance coverage, things like that. You should review your systems. Is there anything that's still like a pain point to you that is not easy or efficient to you to do as an investor? Maybe you should take some time and sit down and identify what that is and maybe outsource it or build out a new system for it. And then kind of the last thing is to look at your net worth. Look at the equity in your properties. Look at, is this worth doing a cash out refi? Is this worth getting a HELOC on the property? Is this worth just selling the property? So evaluating your equity. And also it's exciting to see that growth, that net worth growing and growing over time as you continue to add to your properties. Let me know below in the comments if there is anything that you would add to your year end review that you're doing to look at your property's performance or in general, just the property in a whole. My name's Ashley Kehr. Thank you so much for joining me on Be a Better Landlord. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and you're subscribed on your favorite podcast platform.